My name is Raven, professional wrestling superstar, former world heavyweight champion, and I want you to choose your 4. This is Pro Wrestling Rushmore. Quote the Raven, nevermore.
Choose your 4. It's Pro Wrestling Rushmore. Hello, humanoids. This is Ian from Square Circle History, and I want you to choose your 4. It's Pro Wrestling Rushmore. Welcome to the only podcast that chooses a topic and allows you, the fans, to decide who ends up on our ultimate Mount Rushmore of a given topic. And this week, we are covering the Mount Rushmore of commentators. Joining me this week is the ever-opinionated, but never duplicated, Brian.
I'm impressed.
I really tried to come up with something special for you. I didn't want to, take the cheap way out and go lovely and talented, but, I wanted to come up with something that I think you would appreciate, because you are opinionated, and that's not a negative thing. You have something to say about everything. That makes you somebody who would want to seek out your advice,
Not always everything.
Okay. And, of course, you can't be duplicated, so... Brian, what wrestling shirt are you wearing today?
Actually, I am wearing an American Eagle sweatshirt. But, underneath it...
Oh, God.
I am wearing the original Kenny the Cleaner t-shirt. I think it's the original, with a Bullet Club one.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. That's pretty cool. And
Pro Wrestling Tees. I got
Pro Wrestling
Tees.
Tees.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And what do you have? What do you have there?
I have my Gorilla Monsoon. Will you stop? Shirt from the old barbershop window. It is absolutely soft style, as was everything with my order that I ordered this shirt with. So, and I figured it was pretty appropriate to wear a Gorilla Monsoon shirt today.
Yeah.
If there was ever a time more appropriate to wear a Gorilla Monsoon shirt, it would be this time, right here, I would say.
Very appropriate.
Yes.
I would say so.
And, as always, reading the lists for us is the lovely and talented Sara.
Hey guys.
With all that said, let's begin construction on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling commentators.
First up, Pat R. from Fall River, with Jim Ross, Vince McMahon, Bobby Heenan, and Joey Styles.
So we are starting off here, as usual, with Pat R. giving us the heavy hitters. And right at the beginning, we are going to mention good old JR, Jim Ross, Oklahoma Booner Sooner.
No, definitely.
The guy who Vince McMahon said sounded too southern and had to replace.
Is that why they replaced him? Because he sounded too southern?
Sounded too southern, and at one point Vince McMahon said that he wasn't cosmetically pleasing.
Oh, well. Excuse me.
I know. Give the guy a break. He had Bell's palsy.
Here's the thing. If he's too southern, why hire him in the first place?
That's true. Why hire him? Because he's quite possibly the best in the game. The best there's ever been. Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty, that killed him. Think of all the legendary Jim Ross quotes.
Oh, of course.
Jezebel.
Definitely, but...
Whip him like a government mule. Go for some pat cone.
I'm here with myself and Dr. Death.
Dr. Death. Oh, God, Dr. Death.
The big hoss.
The big hoss. That might be my favorite one.
Big stud.
Look at that big stud. And then we have Vince McMahon. 1, 2, oh, we go. Kick out.
I like Vince McMahon as a commentator.
Yeah, Vince was great.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, he had a lot of good sayings. Just,
He did.
What a maneuver!
What a maneuver!
Who was your favorite pairing with Vince though? Was it Jesse?
Vince and Jesse, I think, was
definitely
the best pairing. Yeah, for sure. I mean, him and Jerry Lawler had something going for a little while, but it was never as good as it was with Vince and Jesse.
Right. And Savage was with him for a little while.
Savage
on Raw,
and Piper
right?
too.
Right. But they were faces, weren't they? Like
They were, for a little while at least. Like, Savage started out, as a heel after WrestleMania 7, but then, once he proposed to Elizabeth, he was the ultimate babyface, so...
Yeah, I don't think two baby faces on commentary work.
No, not at all. You need that balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
It also makes him far more entertaining when even the commentators are fighting with one another.
Right, definitely.
And speaking of which, Bobby Heenan gets a mention on here. Bobby Heenan finished, of course, at the top last week, most votes for the Mount Rushmore of managers. And the multi-talented Bobby Heenan, here he is again on commentary because he deserves to be there.
And he'll finish first on this one, too.
I don't know if he finishes first.
I guarantee it.
You guarantee it?
I guarantee it.
That's
There's no way, if you're a true wrestling fan, I don't care how old you are, Bobby Heenan needs to be on your list. He should be on every one of these lists again, just like last week.
And if not, that's not fair to Flair.
It's not fair to Flair.
And then, oh my God! Pat R. Joey Styles, the voice of ECW, the one-man commentary team. Legendary.
Definitely legendary. Who else could pull off a commentating gig like Joey Styles? One-man booth, and he had it all, man.
The ultimate storyteller. Joey Styles, he really did. He really did have it all. And I don't know why Vince didn't see what everybody else saw in Joey Styles. We got Joey Styles on Raw, but just for probably like a 6-month period.
Yeah, not good. And, going back to his ECW days, when what's-his-face came in, the Jackal there. What's his name? I forgot his name.
Cyrus
Yeah,
the Virus.
When they had Cyrus with Joey Styles, it wasn't the same. It's like Joey Styles was better on his own.
It's funny because we just mentioned how the best commentary is, a heel and a babyface commentator. Except when it comes to Joey Styles. Joey Styles can cover it all. I mean, he doesn't need to necessarily be a heel commentator, but the way he tells a story, he doesn't need backup. He doesn't need to feed off of somebody or bounce anything off of, as far as ideas go.
Yeah, no, I agree. He was better by himself. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything he called. And it was funny because he would come out to the ring, he would do an interview, and then go back to his his little perch up there in the ECW arena.
Yes.
And the funny thing too is you never knew if he was actually doing a live segment from there or from Paul Heyman's basement because it all looked the same.
True. One moment that I'm thinking about right now, which is kind of funny for many reasons, is what about the time when Brian Pillman showed up in ECW and he said he was gonna yank out his Johnson and pee in the middle of the ring, and as security is surrounding Brian Pillman, there's Joey Styles right there. He's like, "What are you doing? Put that thing away!"
And it wasn't even out.
But Joey made us believe it was out. Okay, Sarah, who's next?
On the Mark shirt submits Lance Russell, Gordon Soley, Bill Watts, and Bobby Heenan.
On the Mark shirts, they just got done with a campaign involving a Psychosis shirt, so if you placed your order for that, good for you, because it was a really good-looking shirt. And oh my God, Brian, we have Lance Russell here. Any memories of Lance Russell? Oh, come on, Brian.
I gotta level
You
with
don't
you.
have any memories of Lance Russell.
I gotta level with you. I have no idea what Lance Russell is called. What federation was he in?
Memphis.
He was in Memphis.
Memphis, yes.
Yeah, I have no recollection of Lance Russell, so I'm gonna have to go with a negative on that
Oh,
one.
no. He did, some NWA stuff as well, but he's probably most known for Memphis, calling. All right, when Jerry Lawler fought Terry Funk in the empty arena, and Lance Russell was standing there smoking a cigarette at the beginning, waiting for the guys to show up.
Okay.
And he's like, I don't know if these guys are gonna be here. Well, just wait till 1 o'clock. And then Terry Funk gets stabbed in the eye, and he goes, "Lance, my eye, my eye, Lance, he got my eye." So,
all right. Well, since you put it that way, yeah, you showed me that empty arena match.
Just like a straight-laced guy, more like a sports broadcaster than anything. If anything, I think he started out as like a weatherman.
Really?
Which is, kind of a good way to start. You're starting in television. You might as well, use that exposure that you have there and your love for the limelight, transfer that towards wrestling.
Go smoke cigs in an empty arena and watch Terry Funk get his eye stabbed.
My eye, Lance. Then we have the great Gordon Soley. It's a Pier 6 brawl, Brian, a crimson mask.
It's definitely an iconic voice.
It's a very unique voice as well.
You know you're listening to Gordon Soley when he comes on. There's no doubt about it. But I didn't listen to Gordon... Well, listen, I didn't watch a lot of Gordon Soley's stuff because for obvious reasons, like I've said before, just my allegiance lied with the WWE. WWF. Whatever.
But he really was. I mean, even Jim Ross says that Gordon Soley is the greatest commentator of all time, and he certainly was the voice of the NWA in the 70s. I mean, he did the commentary for Championship Wrestling from Florida. He did Georgia Championship Wrestling, went to World Championship Wrestling, commentated with Jim Ross, the voice of the early Starcades. Actually, I don't know if you recall the first Starcade. I'm going to have to go back and watch Starcade. Now I can't remember.
Well,
we've had a wild night tonight.
Since Jim Ross said it, it's got to be true.
It's got to be true.
He's like the internet.
And speaking of that, the man who Jim Ross really looks up to, Bill Watts. Bill Watts was the voice of Mid-South Wrestling, UWF, the Cowboy. The Cowboy. And he was like the quintessential sports broadcaster, just very, dry, monotone, just telling you exactly what's going on in the ring. Really getting emotional when he needed to, because of course, you run the company, of course you're going to have to prove you're the top dog every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, another vote for Bobby Heenan here. Do you have a favorite Bobby Heenan call?
Favorite Bobby Heenan call?
Yeah, like favorite thing Bobby Heenan said on commentary?
Oh, man.
Like when he says, Gorilla!
Well, I told you last
Shawn
week.
Michaels has left the building!
I know that's yours. You mentioned
Who
that.
cares? Who cares? Or I used to love when Bobby Heenan would say that he was going to have like this wild after party. Like at WrestleMania 7, he was going to have a big after party of Sergeant Slaughter 1. And he'd say, and you're not invited, Gorilla!
No, like I told you that last week, when he told Gorilla, I'll take you outside.
Yes.
Gorilla says, he calls him out on it, and he's like, no, I got something to do. I got to call the match.
And of course, being the expert that he is, he had the brain scan. So just like in the NFL with the telestrator, Bobby Heenan had his brain scan, and he would analyze the finishes of the matches, draw little doodles over freeze frames of things, and, if it was Survivor Series, he would, turn the move into like a turkey or something like that. But, I mean, Bobby Heenan was just the king of heel commentators, of course.
Well, he was so quick and witty. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, he's got some quotes. How about when he was like, remember folks, fish are like relatives. After 2 days, they stink.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Stuff like that.
What about the Coco Beware one?
Oh, Coco Beware's mother's first name is Tuppa.
God, I love it. It never gets old. All right, Sarah, who do we have next?
The next submission is from Shepland. Jim Ross, Bobby Heenan, Mauro Ranallo, and Gorilla Monsoon.
Okay, so we got to vote for Mauro Ranallo, somebody who... He got his start in independent wrestling, but was really known for commentating MMA. He was the voice of Pride with Boss Rutan for years, and then he transitioned into doing commentary for New Japan, as well as NXT and WWE.
Strikeforce.
Strikeforce, there you go, yep.
They got bought out. Yeah, Mauro brought excitement
Yes.
with him,
Yes.
And did you ever watch his documentary?
The Bipolar Bear or something like that, yeah.
I'm not sure if it's called Bipolar Bear, but it's about his bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
And, man, it's pretty fascinating. I urge anyone who is a fan of Mauro or just a fan of documentaries, period, just check it out. It's pretty good.
No, and I mean, it says something, as somebody who can, kind of relate to, that whole mental disorder thing. It says something that he's able to, go out there and perform, like, every time he's out there. Every time he's out there, Mauro Ranallo has a distinguishable, recognizable voice. He's probably the ultimate combat sports commentator right now, I would say. I mean, I think if UFC could get him, they would get him.
I don't blame him. Speaking of which, did you hear that they wanted to sign Mike Goldberg for a while?
Yes, I did hear that. They really wanted to stick it to UFC and get Mike Goldberg, and it was so close to happening, too.
Yeah, I heard that. And I think Mike Goldberg would be great on wrestling, and probably better than Michael Cole. I mean...
Yeah, I agree with you. And where is Mike Goldberg now? Bellator?
Bellator, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal broadcaster.
I do notice that UFC, I know we're not talking about UFC here, but their broadcasters are really, really good. No matter who they have on.
Yeah.
Daniel Cormier.
Joe Rogan.
Ultimate
analyst. Yep.
Yeah, man. I mean, they could easily come to the WWE, and fit right in. Like a glove.
Like a glove. Do you have a favorite Gorilla Monsoon call?
Oh, man, there's so many.
I know.
Jam-packed to the rafters.
The irresistible force meets the immovable object.
Yeah. This place is going bananas, Jess.
Jam-packed to the rafters. And when you see multiple empty seats.
Well, oh yeah, definitely.
He got him right in the breadbasket. I love Gorilla Monsoon. And how about the time it was Hulk Hogan against Terry Funk in the Philadelphia Spectrum? It's the end of 1985. Terry Funk is doing his whole middle-aged and crazy gimmick, and he goes over to Gorilla Monsoon and takes a swing at him. And Gorilla Monsoon isn't sure if this is, legit or not.
Right.
So he throws down his glasses and puts his dukes up, and he's ready to go at it with Terry Funk. And Terry Funk just backs off.
That was kind of like Bobby Heenan and Brian Pillman in WCW.
Yes.
Remember that?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. Bobby Heenan with a hurt neck, made it clear to WCW he did not want any physical activity whatsoever. I think he even had it in his contract, too. And there goes Brian Pillman, the unpredictable Brian Pillman, going up to him and trying to rip off his jacket. And Bobby Heenan dropping an F-bomb on live television.
Bobby wasn't having it.
I think that's the one time somebody ever got to Bobby Heenan. He walked off set. He threw down his headset. And then walked back and apologized immediately. And said he still liked Brian Pillman. So.
How about when someone get hit in the nuts, and Gorilla was like, he's gonna audition for the Vienna Boys Choir.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. And how about Jim Ross? I know we've already thrown out a ton of Jim Ross, calls, but Jim Ross, is there something special about Jim Ross calling a big match? Is Jim Ross the guy you want to get to call a match that you really need to get over as something special?
Yeah, I believe so. I've been to shows where I was sitting on the side of the commentators when they were up. I mean, I guess they still are up on that little perch thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it was. I remember it was Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler distinctively. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching JR call the match, and he's rocking back and forth on his chair, and just going nuts.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch that, just watching his reaction to what he was calling. And I think that brought out his emotion, where he was just so into it, and he's into everything he calls.
He is.
And I mean, I know he's saying he never lost a step, and he still, loves what he does. And I believe he loves what he does, because otherwise, why would he be doing it? I mean, I'm sure he doesn't need the money, but I don't hear the same passion as what he had in WWE, and I think WWE was his best run.
And do you think that could possibly because he doesn't feel the need to be passionate about the product? Meaning, think about the times when Jim Ross was his most passionate. He was calling matches for The Rock, for Stone Cold, for The Undertaker, for Mankind, some of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Now he's calling matches in AEW where, beyond Chris Jericho, Cody, the occasional Jon Moxley match, is there really a match in AEW that Jim Ross could, really put over as being a big deal? I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think the talent is there for him to tell a story properly.
No, and in the WWE, those were his friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and he signed most of them.
Right, and he wanted to put everything he had behind that. And I think he goes to AEW and he sees these guys flipping around and doing all this crazy shit, and it's just not his thing. Mm-hmm. He's made it clear. I mean, he doesn't like that all the time. So
yeah, but when you get signed to $1 million contract, I mean, anything's gonna sound like a 5-star match.
No, I get it. But like I said, I mean, his buddies were in WWE, and he signed, like you said, he signed most of them, even the girls. He did. He signed most of them. So he put everything behind that, and he wanted to get those guys over. And I'm not saying he doesn't want to get these guys over. I'm not saying that at all. But it's almost like, I don't know, there's no bridges there with these guys.
Yeah, he doesn't have that connection.
Right.
And, I mean, something we're also not considering, he's also a lot older now.
Yeah,
the Attitude Era, when he was at his best, he was more energetic, he was more lively. Now, not so energetic, not so lively. And he's also been through a lot of, personal tragedies. Okay, Sarah, who do we have next?
Next is a list from Steve from Connecticut, Rhode Island, with Vince McMahon, Bobby Heenan, Jesse Ventura, and Jerry the King Lawler.
So all WWF commentators there.
Puppies!
Puppies, yep. Jerry the King Lawler. Former legendary wrestler that transitioned into a commentary position, and I have to say transitioned very well. The legendary commentary duo of JR and Jerry the King Lawler.
That was a good combo.
Yeah, the voice of the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I like that combo. I like Gorilla and Heenan better.
Yes.
I like
Definitely.
Vince and Jesse the Body better.
Well, I think if we were going to rank those commentary duos, because I do have a question on here, is what do you think the greatest commentary duos are? But, of course, Heenan and Gorilla, number 1.
What?
Vince and Jesse, number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, Vince and Jesse, number 3. JR and King, number 2.
No, I disagree.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Vince and Jesse. I just said it. God damn it. You're not listening again.
You want to go sit in the corner?
Vince and no, I'm over that. Do you want to revisit this?
Not this early in the show.
All right. Well, no. It's Heenan Gorilla number 1, Jesse Vince number 2,
Okay.
and then your boy.
JR and the King?
No, Mongo and Shivani. No, I'm joking.
Wow, I was way off.
No, it's JR and King.
Is Steve McMichael on your list?
Of course, he's on my
Was
list.
his little dog Pepper?
Pepper.
Bobby the Stain. Who else do we have on there? Yeah, Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is getting a lot of votes, and you got to think. I mean, when the WWF began airing on television, that was their anchor right there, Vince McMahon. Brian, what do you think makes a good commentator?
Chemistry with your partner, or in Joey Styles' Joey Styles' case, just excitement, emotion, man.
Emotion.
That's the word I'm looking for. You gotta bring emotion out of yourself, out of the match that you're calling, and you want to evoke emotion out of the people you're calling the match for. And every time Joey Styles, I watched, I got a lot of those ECW pay-per-views and loved watching it because of Joey Styles. Even if it was like, the Dirt Bike Kid versus Mikey Whipwreck.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, Joey would just, he'd grab you and, bring you in, and
He tells a great story. He knows how to
your
tell you a
attention.
great story.
He held your attention, and that's what you want. You want to hold people's attention.
And that's also something so simple that a lot of commentators don't do, is pay attention.
Yep.
They don't pay attention to what's going on in the ring.
No.
They'll be talking about something else. They'll be talking about what's going on next week, what's going on tomorrow night. Pay attention to what's going on in the ring right then and there, because you're telling that story. You should be acting as if you're calling this show for a blind person.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Tell them exactly what you see, exactly what's going on. Paint the perfect picture for them.
Yes, I've heard that that being used as an example before, and you're right. That's exactly what they should do. You know who was underrated as a commentator?
Who's
in my
that?
opinion? Coach.
The coach, yeah.
Jonathan Coachman,
Yeah.
to me, was very underrated, and I doubt he's even on anybody's list. I wish
No,
he was.
he's not. No.
That'd be cool if he was. He's not on mine anyway, but I mean, I think it'd be cool to see him on.
He's
there.
not, Kevin Kelly's not either.
I didn't like Kevin Kelly. I didn't really.
Yeah, two guys that came around the same time, along with Michael Cole.
Yeah. Josh Matthews.
Yeah.
It was just. No.
You know what was a good duo that I kind of liked at the time was Michael Cole and Taz.
Taz is a good commentator, but I noticed Taz now in AEW. He's a badass in the ring when he's cutting a promo, but when he gets commentary, he just clams right up and he's not a badass anymore.
Well, I almost think too is there's way too many people on that commentary team in AEW. I mean, what do you think is the sweet number for commentary? 2 people?
I think 2.
I think that's
Some
all
say
you
3,
need.
but
3's all right. I mean, I think 3's pushing it, but I think 2 is that perfect number. Or if you got somebody like Joey Styles who can do it on his own, great. But that's rare. That's a very rare find.
2's great, but 3's a crowd.
Ha 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 ha. Isn't it also great for commentators that have catchphrases too?
Like what?
By God.
By God, yeah.
Good
I don't
God
know if he
Almighty.
meant that though. Like, I don't think he meant that to be his catchphrase. I think he just.
What about
literally-
it's a slobber knocker?
Well, all right. I'm sorry. Yeah, that he did, but like the other stuff was just that was his emotions coming out.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Well, I guess you're right. King with puppies.
Yeah.
What did McMahon have?
What a maneuver!
What a maneuver. Gorilla was jam-packed to the rafters.
Will you stop?
Will you stop? I liked when Jesse got mad at Joey Morella for turning a blind eye on
Yes.
in Hogan matches.
I'd like to say hello to my friends Terry, Tyrell, and Jane up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Every WrestleMania.
Did he really?
Yeah.
You remember these people's names?
Well, it's his family. I mean, why do I know his family's names? I guess that's another issue. But I mean, no, I just remember that every year at WrestleMania, he would always say hi to the same people.
You're sick.
Yeah, I know. It's
Too much wrestling for you, Ian. Way
Yep.
too much wrestling for you.
Never.
Oh, Sarah, how do you do it?
Sarah, who do we have next?
The Blue Lou votes for Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, Jerry Lawler, and Taz.
So finally, we got Tony Schiavone. We vote for Tony Schiavone here. This is the greatest night in the history of our great sport. Every Monday was the greatest night.
When I was a kid, I hated Tony Schiavone.
Yeah.
Like SummerSlam 88, 89, I think he called both of those, and
Yep.
I just wasn't into it. I wanted my Vince McMahon. I wanted,
Yeah.
my Jesse. I wanted my Gorilla.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Jesse and Gorilla was a great combo too, by the way. But I wanted those guys on commentary. I did not want Tony Schiavone, and I used to get so mad. And now, even like on Nitro, I didn't really love Tony Schiavone. I liked Mike Tenay.
Yeah?
I didn't mind Mike Tenay because Mike Tenay was like you. He was kind of like a savant. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
came out with all these facts and factoids and stuff. But now I appreciate Tony Schiavone a lot more. I listen to his podcast and the watch-alongs there and stuff like that, and I can appreciate him. I can appreciate him in AEW. I think he does a better job than Jim Ross in AEW. To be
Yeah,
honest,
I think he's definitely the
opinion.
voice of that company. And he's, I don't know, he's kind of like the Bob Saget of wrestling, I would say, because, Bob Saget was this edgy, raunchy comedian, but, had to suppress all of that to be the wholesome face of a company like, Jim Crockett Promotions or WCW or whatever. When in reality, he's a
douchebag.
well, I mean, I don't know if I say that because he actually seems like a genuinely funny person, but
He's not a nice person.
well,
I mean, if you listen to his stand-up comedy, he's really not a nice guy.
yeah, he's hilarious.
No, he is. I
love
agree.
I love listening to him.
You also enjoy listening to Gilbert Gottfried, but
Yes, I do.
I bet you like Bobcat Goldthwait too.
Yeah, he's alright.
Ugh, God.
And we got to mention here for Taz on commentary, somebody who had a career-ending injury and was able to continue living out his dream of being in the wrestling business and turned out to be a pretty solid commentator.
Yeah, he's a good commentator, good wrestler. I mean, I don't love the pick, but I can see why someone would put him on their list. He's good enough to make somebody's list, not mine. Probably yours.
Well, Taz didn't make my list, but I'll tell you what, I met Taz one time.
I'm sorry. Did he choke you out?
No.
Did he put you in a cot to hotch
No,
night,
but
brother?
I had to relay a story to him, and I know I've mentioned it on the show before, I was at an ECW show, and the main event was Taz versus Bubba Ray Dudley, and Bubba Ray Dudley body slammed Taz right on top of my foot, and I couldn't move.
Right.
So I had to relay that message to Taz and say, hey, Bubba body slammed you on my foot one time. He said, oh, where was that? I said, oh, Fall River. And he said, oh, that's right next to Cape Cod, right? Kind of.
Not really.
Not really, but,
Like, Taz, you have no sense of direction, brother. Just tell him that.
No, I didn't say that because he might
But
jump.
you survived. That's a plus. He let you survive. So.
Yeah, because he let me.
Right, he let you survive. So
Yeah.
that's a plus. So you're here with me today.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be doing this unless I gotta thank Taz for this whole podcast.
I know, huh? We owe a lot to Taz
Yep.
then. Damn. Wow, thanks, Taz. Sarah, who's next?
The next submission is from Mikey from the Streets, Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan, Jesse Ventura, and Jim Ross.
What did you think of Jesse Ventura in WCW?
I liked it. I like Jesse Ventura. I think Jesse Ventura was the best commentator they had. Jim Ross. I know everyone's gonna say, "Oh, but Jim Ross was there with Jesse," and that was a good duo also.
Mhm.
But Jesse brought out the humor, the ha-ha moments, and I hate to use that because everyone's using that ha-ha shit now. But no, just he brought the funny parts of Jim Ross. I like Jesse.
Yeah.
Remember when he had like his head? It It was completely shaved, and he just had that little ponytail in the back.
Jesse knew how to get heat.
Yes, he did.
And I loved how he always had that grudge against Hulk Hogan.
Always.
Always had a grudge against him. Oh, man. And you look back on it now, and it's like Hogan was kind of taking Jesse's whole shtick.
Well, yeah, that's why he was pissed off about it.
Yeah, and how about Jesse being the guy that wanted to unionize wrestling, and Hulk Hogan was the one that stooged him out to Vince.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And Jesse's the reason why wrestlers get royalty checks now.
Right. So, yeah, they owe a lot to Jesse, then,
So,
huh?
yeah, they definitely owe a lot to him. And, I mean, come on. It's awesome in Predator, too.
Oh, of course he was. What else was he in? Predator.
Oh, boy. Oh, he was in the Batman movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Was he really?
Mr. Freeze? Yeah, he played one of the guards. Because he's really good friends with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, see.
The things you learn, huh?
Yep.
But what do you say, like, okay, so Mikey from the streets here, he's got Bobby Heenan and Jesse Ventura, the two biggest heel commentators of the 80s. And then Gorilla Monsoon and Jim Ross. Two really loved voices from the 80s and, 90s in Ross's case.
Yeah, and it's funny because, going back to a few podcasts ago, a lot of these announcers, we're seeing going by different eras in the wrestling business.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gorilla, Heenan, the 80s. Then you have Joey Styles on some people's, the Attitude Era. Jim Ross with the Attitude. But Jim, I guess that's subject to people's opinions because are they talking about Jim Ross in the Attitude Era? Or are they talking about Jim Ross in WCW? Are they talking about good old JR right now? Which
Mm-hmm.
I doubt, but you know what I mean? So it's going through different eras, kind of like a slow car ride. You know what I mean? Through the 80s, 90s,
yes.
today.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Chocolate cake.
The chocolate cake runs, that's
Yes.
what it was. Not the chocolate cake runs, that sounds like they had a problem eating chocolate cake, but I mean, they say they were going to go have chocolate cake, but they'd actually go smoke weed. That's the point I was trying to make. Hey, here's a little fact for you. Did you know that Jim Ross hates the cowboy hat? Or at least at one time he hated the
He
cowboy
did. I mean, he embraced it.
He had to embrace it. I mean,
Yeah.
that became his character.
Well,
Good
he's-
old JR.
He said that, he loves it now because that's his moneymaker.
Sure.
But yeah, you're right. When McMahon wanted him to wear it, he did not want to wear it at all.
Sound like you're from the South, huh? You're from the South. You're riding a horse, huh? You're riding a horse to the river. How about a cowboy hat, huh, JR? How about a cowboy hat? Vince was so mean to JR. All over the years. Firing JR because he got Bell's palsy. Saying he's not cosmetically pleasing for television. I mean, all the times he's fired this guy. And the last time JR was fired was because he got drunk and hosted a video game panel at a SummerSlam weekend.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, him and Ric Flair.
CM Punk was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, you know.
They were
Good
both
old
drunk.
JR and me, Minnesota.
Oh, God. Yeah, he's got a slur now, Ric Flair, huh? Poor guy.
Yeah, Ric Flair is style
Probably
and
for his
profile.
false teeth. Because his teeth aren't real. I mean, at his age,
You don't think Ric Flair's teeth are real?
those choppers aren't real, man.
Really?
He's slurring and everything like that. You think he's always drunk? Is that why he's always slurring?
Well,
I think he's trying to get used to those choppers, man.
hey, that's
Chompers.
possible.
Chompers?
You think they're
Choppers?
diamond crusted? teeth?
Well, no, because we see them on TV. We know they're not diamond crusted.
That's true. I don't know. I just feel like if I were Ric Flair and I was styling and profiling, wanting the best of everything, alligator sneakers, custom-made suits, Carreras, Rolex, custom-made from head to toe. Woo! I don't know what point I was making there. I kind of just went off.
Yeah, no.
Oh no, but if he wants the best of everything, wouldn't you think he'd want the best teeth too?
Well, they probably gave him the best teeth, but he probably just can't get adjusted to it.
Yeah,
Maybe a Sensodyne's messing with him. I don't know.
That's possible.
I don't know, Ian. I'm not him.
Well,
I'm not he.
you know,
Whatever.
he,
him.
him. Okay.
Him.
Him. Oh, wasn't that the best? That's one of the best episodes of Married to Children ever.
Go with him.
And how could Al not know that was a Beatles song?
I didn't know it was a Beatles song
Oh,
until you
alright.
just told me.
Oh, all right then. All right, Sarah, who do we have next?
Really?
Jordan,
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, it's a Beatles song.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
What's the name of the song? Go with him.
go with him.
Him.
I love these side tangents. We can't talk about wrestling all the time, can we?
Oh, all right.
you can.
Oh yeah, I think I do. All right,
He
Sarah.
talks about wrestling in his sleep.
I do actually.
I know
do.
you do.
I gotta get help for Hulk.
Oh my god, yeah, that's right.
I was waving.
That's right.
I was waving for help for Hulk. Somebody's gonna help him out.
Sarah's like, "What are you doing? Wake up!" Slapping you.
I was afraid he was going to slap me.
No, you were Hulk's help. He was probably hugged you.
Okay, Sarah, who's next?
Jordan in Tennessee brings us Jim Ross, Joey Styles, Jerry Lawler, and Tony Schiavone.
Another vote there for Tony Schiavone. Another vote there for Joey Styles. The voice of ECW, the voice of WCW. And then the Attitude Era commentary team, Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler. What do you think was the best match Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler called?
Jesus Christ, there's so many.
Who did Jesus Christ fight? Pontius Pilate?
No,
death match?
Against Vince McMahon when he didn't show up.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Shawn Michaels and God stood him up.
Jesus Christ was not there.
Wow. Hell in a Cell. Mick Foley. Undertaker.
Okay. That was Jim Ross's best call.
You don't think it was Jerry Lawler's best call, too? No!
I mean, all Jerry Lawler did was scream.
That's all Jerry Lawler ever did was screaming. It's like puppies. But, you know what? Jerry Lawler was awesome at making fun of Stu and Helen Hart.
Yes.
And so was Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, but I think... Oh, wait. Yeah, Heenan was better at it.
Yeah, Survivor Series 93 in Boston. Stu's coming to the ring with the Boston Bruins jacket. Got the picture of the bear on the back and...
What's Helen doing on his jacket? What's Helen's face doing on his jacket? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Brett was... Well, I know Brett was not happy with Jerry Lawler's comments about Stu and Helen.
Don't they have, like, on YouTube, don't they have, like, a whole montage of Bobby Heenan making fun of Stu and Helen throughout that Survivor Series?
They do. It's another awesome podcast, the OSW Review.
Yeah.
They're in Ireland. They review pay-per-views one at a time, old school chronological order, and they do a magnificent job of pulling those things together. I mean, they have an awesome montage of heel Bob Backlund. They've got a whole montage of Bob Backlund just doing the duck walk.
Really?
Yeah, and they have it set to that one part in that Ace of Base song that goes na 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 na. So every time he does the duck walk, it goes na 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 na. So every time you hear Ace of Base, you'll think of Bob Backlund. Yes, sir!
Oh man, people have too much time on their hands.
Yeah, I know. Look at us.
I don't have time though. That's the thing. I don't have the time.
That's why you always ask how many lists do we have left?
How many more lists do we have? Sarah, please.
Next we have Bobby on the Beat with Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan, Jim Ross, and Jesse Ventura.
So what do you think? Bobby's usually pretty close to guessing the Mount Rushmore, and I know that Mikey from the Streets doesn't like that. But
is there a little beef going on between?
I think so. I think Mike wants to take the role of the Mount Rushmore savant, but Bobby is just clenching onto that title, and Mike just doesn't like that, and he wants to know, like, how am I going to get into that top spot? It's kind of like when The Rock was on Stone Cold Steve Austin's coattails, and it's like, what can I do? What can I do to surpass this guy? But Bobby with Gorilla, Bobby, JR, and Jesse Ventura. Is that going to be the final four at the end? What do you think?
It was almost my final four at the end.
Yeah.
It almost was. That's pretty damn close, man. Yeah, that's pretty close. Bobby might have it. It might be between Ventura and Vince, I would say.
Which says a lot right there. I mean, great duo right there. Great pairing. Saturday Morning Superstars. That was the voice of Saturday Morning Superstars in the 80s.
Yes, definitely. Who did Shotgun Saturday Night? Who was
Vince and Sonny.
Ugh.
That's how it started out. Vince and Sonny.
Yikes.
And then I believe it was Kevin Kelly and Jim Cornette, maybe?
Really?
Yeah.
And, I could see Jim Cornette as a good announcer.
Yeah. But the problem is, anybody that's a commentator...
I'm sorry, I said announcer.
Oh, well, whatever. But anybody who's a commentator for WWF has to deal with Vince in their ear and shouting instructions at them, telling them what to say, what not to say. I mean, Mick Foley tried out to be a commentator and didn't last because he couldn't stand Vince being in his ear the whole time.
Right. And I heard that Vince, he didn't really scold Jerry Lawler
No.
too often.
No.
But
if ever.
he would be all over JR.
All over JR. And I think it was because, Jerry Lawler told him up front, like, I've been doing this far longer than you have.
Right.
What are you going to tell me?
But so had JR. I mean, he had been doing it forever.
Yeah, and he was under the tutelage, under the wing of Cowboy Bill Watts.
What about Paul Heyman?
Yes, he'll get a mention on here soon.
Oh, does he?
But yeah, I always thought Paul Heyman, or Paulie Dangerously, whatever you want to call him and JR, I always thought was a great commentary team. And they called the greatest WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 17.
Yep, I would say so. Yeah, he was good. I mean, he knew how to get on the Jim Ross's skin.
Yes, he did. Legitimately, yes.
Right.
Yes.
But that was great because a pissed off JR is a great JR.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, that's for sure. Do you have like a dream pairing, a dream commentary pairing?
I don't think you can get any better than Heenan and Gorilla.
Okay, but
But
what?
maybe Heenan and Jim Ross if they had done it longer together.
Yeah, because they definitely have, but they didn't really really get to learn.
They never got to jive.
Right, the chemistry wasn't
Right.
there, at least from the beginning. They needed the practice together. I think they would have been a good duo. However, what about Bobby Heenan and Joey Styles?
I don't know, man.
Think about how riled up Joey Styles would get when the Dudley Boys would come out. And, he'd just be going off on them, going crazy on them. And what if he had Bobby Heenan to feed off of? And Heenan saying, how much he loves the Dudley Boys. And
Yeah, I could see it. I know what you're saying.
or what about Joey Styles and Jesse Ventura?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm just so used to listening to Joey Styles by himself.
Yeah, okay.
Because when he went to the WWE and had, who was it, Lawler he was calling with? Who was he calling commentary
I
with?
feel like it was him, Lawler, and maybe one other person in the booth. Maybe Coach.
Right, and it just wasn't the same. It wasn't
Yeah.
the same for Joey. But I think Bobby Heenan with anybody would, like you said, it'd be gold.
But towards the end in WCW, Bobby was really phoning. I don't know if I can say he was phoning it in, but people that he was working with, whether it be Tony Schiavone, whether it be Mike Today, people just, he didn't have that chemistry.
I don't think they knew how to take him. I don't think
Yeah.
Schiavone knew how to feed off of him, like Gorilla did.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's chemistry. It all goes back to chemistry, and they just didn't have that with Schiavone. Even though they worked together for a while, they were together for a long time. They just never got to that level.
Some things just sound a lot better on paper.
And you could hear he was throwing him a softball, man.
Mhm.
To crush it out of the park, and Schiavone wouldn't take the bait.
No, he wouldn't. Schiavone, who always insisted that his seat be higher than everybody else's seat.
Oh boy, slapdick.
Sarah, who's next?
Mike the Wolverine has on his list Gorilla Monsoon, Jerry Lawler, Bobby Heenan, and Jesse Ventura.
So Mike the Wolverine with just about the same list as Bobby on the Beat. All you do is swap out Jim Ross for Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah, but how can Jim Ross not be on the list? I think Heenan and Jim Ross have to be there.
Heenan and Jim Ross.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Gorilla, my pick, because I'm an '80s baby, so I just love that duo, man.
We're getting there.
Love
We're
that
getting
duo.
close.
How
Yeah.
many more lists?
How many more lists does this guy have?
Oh, Art Donovan.
Art Donovan, and there's no better time than right now to talk about the great Art Donovan. The King of the Ring, 1994. Vince obviously lost a bet. And football legend, was he a football legend? I think
Yes,
he was. Yeah, because
he was.
I remember seeing old clips of him on David Letterman. And yeah, Art Donovan, who hadn't commentated a day or a second in his life, and it was completely clear. When he just sat in with Gorilla and Randy Savage to commentate an entire 3-hour broadcast, and the most he would contribute really was, how much is this guy weigh?
That's a big guy. Look at him.
Oh, that guy's a cutie. Hey, you guys like doing this?
How much do those two weigh together?
How old is he? This guy's a scrapper.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
It was. I can only imagine being Gorilla or Randy Savage, just having to Because there's a whole point where they just ignore him. They just start ignoring him.
Right.
He'll say something and they'll just move on to another topic.
That's almost what they had to do.
How do you work around this guy? You can't. God, I'd love to know the 100% factual reason why Art Donovan was chosen to commentate on this pay-per-view.
Oh, look at, I mean, how about that schmuck that commentated Raw with McMahon? What was his name?
Mike Adamle?
Yeah, him.
Oh, no,
No,
you're talking
not
Rob
Adamle.
Bartlett?
Rob Bartlett,
The
that's
comedian.
what I'm talking about,
Rob
yeah.
Bartlett, the comedian, yeah.
Like, why? Why?
Yeah. No, Vince found him to be funny. They were in the New York market. They got a New York comedian.
Funny how?
Exactly. Exactly. Like a clown, but not like a good clown.
That was awful.
Are you scared of clowns?
I'm not scared of clowns.
Me either, but I know a lot of people that are.
Why? I don't understand. Is it because of It? The It movie?
Might be it. Might be the Joker. Might be the serial killer, Gacy.
Gacy was a clown? Gacy.
What was his name? John Wayne Gacy.
He was a clown?
He dressed up as a clown. He called himself Pogo the Clown, Pogo the
really?
Party
Yeah.
Clown, and that's how he would get his victims.
I had no
mostly
idea.
children. Yeah. So I mean that would be kind of scary, no?
Homie the Clown?
Homie, don't play that. I used to love when Teddy Long would use that phrase when In Living Color was really just starting to make it.
Homie, don't
That would
play
be his catchphrase. And homie, don't play that.
He should have said, Teddy don't play that.
He should have said Teddy don't play that because it's just complete plagiarism right there. Just stealing a popular television show's catchphrase.
Literally.
That'd be like Sting going out there and going, "Woo! Don't have a cow, man." Like,
Ay caramba.
I can remember. Imagine Vader coming out going, "Peg, peg."
Him.
Harley Race, it's tool time.
Oh, man.
Sarah, who's next?
Next up is Cashman in Plymouth, Gorilla Monsoon, Gordon Soley, Bobby Heenan, and Jim Ross.
Those are some pretty iconic names right there. Gorilla and Heenan, that, we've already established. That's the greatest commentating duo of all time. We got Jim Ross, another legend, and the great Gordon Soley. Gordon Soley. I'm sure he has some wild party stories.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Late 70s, down in Florida.
I don't know, Ian.
I don't know. I think Gordon Soley has seen his share of stuff.
I think he went to, after the shows, he'd go to strip clubs and stuff like that. You don't think so?
Yes.
Why'd you say
That's the noise he makes.
Oh. Like,
Huh. Yeah, exactly like that, yeah.
Sassafras.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Alright.
But yeah, Gordon Soley.
I don't know. I don't see him, I can't see him with a stripper on his lap and,
But
glass of Jack on the rocks. You know what I mean?
I heard that Mean Gene was a big
Well, Mean Gene showed
party
it.
guy.
He
Yeah.
showed it. Watch
Holy
Legend's
balls.
House. Watch Legend's House. You'll see how much of a pervert Mean Gene was.
Hello, Ashley.
But he was awesome.
Mean Gene.
It was great. He was
legendary.
so creepy, but I loved it.
And he was a commentator in AWA.
Was he?
So yeah, he's got some commentary experience, and he even did some commentary on the Coliseum videos and stuff like that. So he just had a great voice. He
Yeah,
had a
he
great voice.
How about Lord Alfred Hayes? Roddy.
Promotional consideration paid for by the fund.
Oh, iconic, man. That was awesome.
Vince always had to have like that British guy. Like now he's got like Nigel McGuinness and Wade Barrett. Back then was Lord Alfred Hayes.
Yeah, but who was in between?
Nobody. I just realized it after I said that.
I mean, it does make sense because now he's got the NXT UK.
Yeah.
What if you had like the Americans calling NXT UK and the UK guys just calling the American NXT?
Wow. That'd be a severe case of dyslexia, I guess. In a sense.
I like it. Steal
I
it.
want you over here, and I want you over here. Yeah. Sarah, who's next?
Danny and Dartmouth submits Jim Ross, Joey Styles, Mike Tenay, and Taz.
So we got a vote here for Mike Tenay. Mike Tenay, who brought us all up to speed on the cruiserweights in WCW, and then he was the voice for TNA for a long time. Very knowledgeable commentator.
Yeah, he was a savant, man. That guy knew everything about Mexico. It was insane.
He was a big tape trader back in the day.
How do you know?
You hear things, man. You just hear things here and there. And I just so happen to hear things about Mike Tenay. and he had the best Japanese collection, and he sold it off a couple years ago.
On VHS or
On
DVD?
VHS.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he convert them to DVD though?
That I don't know.
Oh,
I'm gonna guess
stumped
no.
your ass again.
Oh God, this is gonna be a weekly thing. And Mike came out and said it's like Stump the Truck or Stump the Trunk on That Metal Show, or what used to be That Metal Show on VH1
Eddie Trump.
with Eddie Trunk. Yeah,
Trump.
Trump, Eddie Trump. And we got another vote for Taz here on commentary. And Joey Styles. You know what I used to love with Joey Styles? How enthusiastically he would call like a certain move. Like it wouldn't just be a hurricanrana, it'd be a Hunan Kunrana.
Joey Styles?
Joey Styles.
Yeah.
And a Heineken Rana.
The Heineken Rana?
Cat fight! And I would just love it when he would just get so mad. Like, just get so mad at the Dudleys and just, like, start swearing on camera. Just at the sight of them. And how he initially hated Joel Gertner. Hated the sight of Joel Gertner, everything about him. But then they became, like, a commentary duo on TNN.
Yeah, they did, right? Oh,
But-
man. TNN. Poor ECW.
Oh, the potential TNN. ECW on TNN could have been something so big if the network would have just cooperated.
Yeah, but why didn't they? Like, why wouldn't you want a better
Because
product on your network?
They were only using ECW as a stepping stone to negotiate with WWE because their contract was coming up on USA, and they wanted to prove to WW. Well, it was actually WWF at the time, but they wanted to prove to Vince, like, hey, look, we have wrestling over here. We can do something for you, and they did. They basically used ECW to get to WWE, and ECW had to die for it.
Paul Heyman got outsmarted by the network.
The storyline that he booked about the network taking over the company, it really happened.
I thought that was a shoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's what happened.
It is. It's
Well,
exactly
it was.
what happened, but, I mean, whether he turned it into a storyline or vice versa, that's exactly what happened, and that led to the death of ECW. Sarah, who do we have next?
The list from JC from EP includes Vince McMahon, Gorilla Monsoon, Jim Ross, and Tony Schiavone.
All right. That's, we're starting to see a lot of the same names coming up again, a lot of repeats here. Why don't we have you read the next list as well, Sarah?
Steve the Savage chose his four as Vince McMahon, Jim Ross, Gorilla Monsoon, and Gordon Solie.
Hey, 2 votes there for Vince McMahon. Jim Ross, of course, is being mentioned again. No vote for Bobby Heenan in either one of those lists. And then another one for Gordon Solie there. But Sarah, why don't you read the next one too?
Or 8.
The next list is from TTD Wrestling with Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, Bobby Heenan, and Gorilla Monsoon.
So TTD Wrestling is a great graphic designer on Instagram, and my favorite my favorite series of pieces that they've been coming out with are these WWF Hasbro pieces. So what they'll do is say, Series 1 of Hasbro action figures had 12 names in them. What he'll do is he'll draw a picture of each of the 12 people that were in that set. He'll put it on one print. He'll sell it to you. You frame it. Put it on your wall. Looks nice. Great artwork. You got to check it out on Instagram.
So just a single wrestler on one print? Is that what it is?
No, everybody.
Everybody on a
that was in that series.
print. Right, that's cool.
Will be on a print. And he's doing some great work, and everything looks really cool. And I hope WWE takes notice, because very talented over there, TTD Wrestling. And they mentioned 2 great duos, JR and the King, Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon.
Yeah, man.
Hard to argue with that. Sarah, who do we got next?
It's nice to see a submission from one of our originals, the LJN Whisperer, Zorro Mendez, with Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon, and Jesse Ventura.
So Zorro Mendez only voting for 3. I know Zorro is a big fan of the 80s, and he gives us 3 names from the 80s right there. Heenan, Monsoon, Ventura. Only 2 of those got LJN action figures, so I'm sure Zorro is upset that Gorilla didn't get an LJN. Oh well. Yeah.
Poor
Sa-
Gorilla.
Yeah, I know. I think a gorilla LJN would have been great. Would have been bulky, heavy, but it would look great next to Bobby Heenan.
It wouldn't have been any more bulky than King Kong Bundy's.
Yeah, no, it'd probably be about as bulky as Mr. Fuji's.
Yes, I'm looking at it right now. Probably a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, those LJNs.
Oh, the colored glasses, the blue glasses.
Yeah, blue glasses, red jacket. That would have been awesome.
Gap tooth.
Gap tooth. You can't not have the gap tooth. Sarah, who's next?
Paulicious votes for Bobby Heenan, Joey Styles, Tony Schiavone, and Lance Russell.
Oh, come on, Paulicious. Another vote for Lance Russell. I don't think Lance Russell's going to make it to the end, but it's cool to see him mentioned because that means that we get to talk about him too.
Says you. You can talk about him all you want. I'll sit here and listen. Go for it. Tell me about Lance Russell Lee and tell me a story.
Oh, he was a great storyteller. I mean, all of Jerry Lawler's wild feuds. Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman. The person whose voice you'd be hearing telling you about everything that was going on was Lance Russell.
I feel like I should be sitting on the floor Indian style, just listening to these stories about Lance Russell. And you with all your knowledge just blurting out this useless information
Just watch
about
Memphis.
Lance Russell. I don't want to watch Memphis.
Why not? I remember a specific time, and to me, I would love to know if this is accurate, but the first time I ever saw a table used in wrestling was Randy Savage down in Memphis. It was the Poffo brothers against the Rock and Roll Express. Lance Russell's on commentary. Randy Savage drags Ricky Morton on top of the table and pile drives him through the table. And there's There's Lance Russell on commentary. Oh, through the table, Randy put him through the table.
And that's about as much enthusiasm as he had.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Now, why would I want to go back and watch Memphis? I don't want to.
It was fun. There's fireballs. There's monsters. It's great. Jerry Lawler.
Yay.
Now, would you agree with Terry Funk's statement that commentators are the most important part of your wrestling show?
If you're watching at home, yes.
Okay.
But it's such a difference. I remember going to my first wrestling show, and there was no commentators there. Well,
Yeah,
there were commentators there, but I couldn't hear what they were saying. I'm sitting in the seats, and I'm like, what is going on? It was so different. Like,
Yeah.
I thought going to the show, you're going to hear the commentators over the PA system or something. I was young, stupid, naive, whatever. But it was such a difference. And watching at home, you have those commentators, like I said before, they want to grab you and bring you into the show and evoke emotion out of you at home, and that's their job. That's what they got to do.
You know what they should have done? You know how, like, when you go on an airplane and if you want to watch the movie, you can buy like a little earpiece to put into your ear
Yeah.
to listen to the movie? They should do that at wrestling events. And if you want to hear the commentary, you just turn it on and you can hear the commentary.
You couldn't do it because they don't call the match in real time. I think there's a delay.
Oh, so that's...
So I think they're
Good reason
calling
not
it.
to do it.
Yeah, I think they're calling it in real time to them.
Yes.
But if you notice, they're always watching their monitors,
Yes.
and I think their monitors isn't the time that we're watching at home.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, like it wouldn't line up to what you were watching live.
Okay.
I think I'm no savant like you. I'm not positive of this, but maybe someone out there knows.
Well, that
Let
was
us
just...
know.
I mean, I kind of just wanted to get that involved so I could get a Terry Funk impression on the show.
Well, do you Terry Funk impression?
Your commentator is the most important part of your show. Lance, my eye, Lance. He got my eye.
Lance.
Sarah, who do we have next?
Next is a submission from Grudge Match Brand. Mauro Ranallo, Jim Ross, Kevin Kelly, and Ian Riccaboni.
Hey, look at that. Kevin Kelly did get a mention, and so did Ian Riccaboni, the voice of Ring of Honor right now.
Who?
Ian Riccaboni. He's been calling Ring of Honor for the past few years now. He's a very, very talented young commentator, very knowledgeable, treats it like it's a sport.
How much does that guy weigh? I have no idea who that is.
Well, we know who Grudge Match Brand is, and the t-shirt that I talk about every week, the Jushin Liger Motorhead shirt, he just re-released it, so now's your chance to go buy it. You can get it as a tank top, too. But, yeah, Kevin Kelly and Ian Riccaboni, two of the voices of Ring of Honor right there.
You've been putting this T-shirt over for weeks.
Oh, I love that shirt.
I need to say I've never seen it.
Come on, I know you've seen it.
No, I haven't.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, you talk about it like, you know, you want to make love to it, but
It's a design so good, I would probably get a tattoo of it.
you're sick.
I know I'm sick, but it really is that good of a design. It's one of my favorite wrestling shirts I've ever
Why
owned.
would you put any man's face on your body?
Well, it's easy if it's Jushin Liger because you can. It's more of a design. It's a masked design.
Oh, Robert De Niro.
I do have a Robert De Niro tattoo. Yes.
Or the schmuck from Pearl Jam.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
What? Don't you have his face on your body?
I do, but
What's
I
his
don't.
name?
I don't look at him as the schmuck from Pearl Jam though. I look at him as Eddie Vedder.
It's still a man's face on your body.
I don't care if it's a face on my body. It's Eddie Vedder.
The dude from Savage Garden.
Soundgarden. It's Soundgarden. It's not Savage Garden. It's Soundgarden. Chris Cornell.
Savage
Black
Garden.
Hole Sun. It's not Savage Garden. There was a completely different band. Rosie O'Donnell loved Savage Garden. Soundgarden rockers love Savage Garden. I mean Soundgarden. Oh, you got me all
I knew
tongue-tied
it.
now. You got me
See?
all tongue-tied. Black Hole Sun, won't you go away?
I wanna lay with you forever.
Was that really Savage Garden?
I believe so.
Wow. It's not Soundgarden though.
It's not Soundgarden, you're right. It's Savage Garden. Gone.
Who's next, Sarah?
Hunter Eleanor has on his list Jim Ross, Joey Styles, Tony Schiavone, and Michael Cole.
The only vote that Michael Cole got.
I am shocked at that.
That he only got one vote, or that he got one vote at all?
Well, both, I think. No, because I
Okay,
could
John
see,
Lennon.
I could see. I could see like the newer fans like
Yeah.
liking Michael Cole because there's nothing else to choose from, I guess. But then like I don't like Michael Cole, so I wouldn't put him on my list.
The thing with Michael Cole is he's been around for 23 years.
That long, huh?
Consistently for 23 years.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's always been involved.
He's the
Always.
best they have right now, though. I guess, right? Corey Graves is good.
I think Samoa Joe is the best commentator they have right
please.
now.
Samoa Joe's the best nothing.
Oh, come on. I think Samoa Joe's awesome at commentary. If he wanted to retire today and switch to that, it would be fine.
Ugh, no.
But I still would love to see him get a title run.
I'd like to see him at a buffet.
Who do we have next, Sarah?
Next, we have the list from Johnny D. Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, Joey Styles, and Paul Heyman.
All right, so Johnny D giving us some good names there. Why don't you read the list from Johnny D's better half?
Angie and Tiverton votes for Nigel McGuinness, Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, and Bobby Heenan.
Angie with a vote for Nigel McGuinness. And I remember that Angie was a big Nigel McGuinness fan when he was the Ring of Honor champion, but now she likes him as a commentator.
That's a personal pick.
Yeah.
She's going with her heart,
She's
not
going with
her
her heart.
mind.
I was just thinking, and when she sent me that list and I saw Nigel McGuinness on there, it just reminded me of just the biggest. It was such a tragedy in wrestling. Nigel McGuinness had everything. He had the whole world in the palm of his hand. He got that big contract to WWE with Daniel Bryan, and he fails his physical.
How did he fail his physical?
I think because he had too many bicep injuries. He had 2 torn biceps.
Oh, so it wasn't like drugs or anything like that.
No, wasn't drug related at all. No. Then instead, he goes and signs with TNA. His first few there is with Kurt Angle. They have awesome matches, right? Then he just kind of flounders around for a little bit. Then contracts hepatitis C. He's got to retire.
That sucks. I
Yeah.
didn't realize it was like that. Didn't put an end to his commentating career though, did it?
No, it just began.
No.
It just began because he transitioned over to a TNA commentator. He left there, went to Ring of Honor. He was a commentator there, and then finally got that ever elusive WWE contract, and now he's a commentator for them. Yeah, Nigel McGuinness. I'm just happy to see his name on there. That's really what it comes down to.
Then you should have put him on yours.
I should have, but maybe he'll make another list. Mount Rushmore.
Like what?
I don't know, the Mount Rushmore Ring of Honor, and the Mount Rushmore.
We're gonna do that? Ring of Honor,
Why not?
TNA.
Why not?
Why?
But why not though? These are topics. These are all topics that can be covered.
Oh God.
Ring of Honor is very underrated. very
I'm
underrated.
not saying they're not. I mean, one of the best shows I ever went to was a Ring of Honor show.
And even those early shows, they were jam-packed. I mean,
But like, I'm not sitting there watching Ring of Honor every week.
okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
I mean, I know the gist. I know, a lot of guys that came through there and stuff like that. So I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be putting guys out there like, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk. You know what I mean?
Respectable names, though.
I understand, but like, that's just because I know what they have done and accomplished in WWE. Like, you're gonna be putting names on there like the Briscoe brothers, and I'm gonna look at you like you have 10 heads. Do you know what I mean?
It's probably accurate. Okay, fair enough. Maybe I'll get a co-host that week.
Okay.
And
Pat?
or play.
I'll be co-hosting. I'll be sitting in the big white chair watching on.
Pat, John Cena is you can't see me, but Pat is you can't hear me. Sarah, who do we have next?
Now we have the first-time submission from Yankees 1989 with some familiar names: Gorilla Monsoon, Jesse Ventura, Jim Ross, and Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, that's a great list right there. That might even be the same Mount Rushmore that Bobby gave us. And for all we know, Yankees 1989 is Bobby in disguise.
Boo. No, Bobby would never have a name like Yankees 1989.
That is true. Yeah, you're right about that.
What a terrible name.
Hey, but they're a new follower of ours on Instagram. They've gone back and done lists for some of our past shows, so they are fans. So I wouldn't knock them that bad.
Yankees suck.
1989 was a good year. Batman came out that year.
I'm not saying 1989 was a bad year, but I'm saying the Yankees.
The mega powers exploded.
Yankees suck.
Sarah, who's next?
Another new participant, William Lyday, votes for Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon, Jim Ross, and Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Hey, yeah, Rowdy Roddy Piper as a commentator. What'd you think about that one?
I don't know, too hyper for me, I guess.
He was just frantic.
He was like the
Manic.
Mojo Rawley of like commentary.
Oh my goodness. But William Lyday art, another great artist. I put up a picture on the Instagram the other day that he drew of Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan. Really cool artist. And yeah, he was nice enough to submit his list here. But yeah, Roddy Piper, oh man, Roddy Piper commentating with Gorilla Monsoon on Tuesday Night Titans, commentating with Vince on Superstars. It was just
Get on your knees!
Yes. Okay, there we go. Let's talk about a great Roddy Piper commentary call there.
Right there.
When Randy Savage was proposing to Elizabeth. And would you believe Roddy Piper used to commentate with Gordon Soley in Georgia Championship Wrestling and on World Championship Wrestling before he went to WWF. You're too out of control, Piper.
Oh,
Am I not out of control, or am I out of control? Am I out of control or not?
Roddy.
Roddy, why are you wearing that skirt, Roddy? Did you ever see the Tuesday Night Titans when Roddy Piper just open hand slaps Slow Down for Hayes just right across the face?
No.
Oh man, it's vicious. Like there was a lot behind that slap. A lot behind that slap.
Didn't it like allow for Hayes just to go behind him and like pick up his skirt and stuff and like look at his ass?
Lord Alfred Hayes is accused of a few backstage antics involving Roddy Piper, yes. Which caused Roddy Piper to lose respect for him. Yeah.
I didn't like when Roddy Piper got serious.
No, it was very strange.
Right.
It was like when Robin Williams became a serious actor.
Yeah. It was like a downer. Like,
Yeah, it's like, no, you're not supposed to be like that.
Right.
That's not the character I've grown to love.
Exactly. I'm glad someone was off.
It's kind of like
on the same page.
when Stone Cold joined up with Vince at the end of WrestleMania 17. It was like, wait a minute, no.
Yeah, but that ended up being something great with him and Angle.
Okay, him and Angle, yeah.
I mean, dude, that was.
I think WrestleMania 17 should have ended. Okay, still have Vince come out. Still have him hand Austin the chair. Austin still beats down Rock with the chair, still wins the championship. Same thing. Does the toast with Vince, but gives him a stunner. That's how I think it should have ended.
Yeah, but then where would the storyline go? After that, you have to book everything after that also.
Yeah, you're right. I just think that would have been a proper ending for the Attitude Era.
Okay.
Just have Austin just stun him.
Everybody.
But you're right. You're right. Where does it go from there?
Right, you'd have to rebook everything.
Yes.
Everybody's entitled to their opinions, Ian, even you, no matter how wrong they are.
But what if you had Austin still go to WCW, and that was why he went to WCW? He's just sick of Vince. He's sick of Vince trying to control everybody and manipulate everybody, and that's his reason just to go over to WCW.
I don't know, I guess. I don't know.
Jordan from Tennessee suggested that we do a fantasy booking podcast.
How would that work?
That's what I said. Sarah, who do we have next?
That's it?
That's what I said. How would
There's
that
no-
work?
Like, you never even, like, brainstormed it or anything?
I told him, like, how is that possible? Like, how would we make that possible? It's just too...
Alright, Jordan, we need a PowerPoint presentation.
We do.
And just email it to Ian, and we're going to get this done for you.
Yeah, because it's an intriguing idea, but I mean, it's just, like, is it like the same thing? Like, do we start with a topic and then each one of us books it? And how far do we book it? How far in advance? Do we get super cards? What companies do we have? Are we limited to certain rosters? You see, there's so many questions.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Next is the 4 from Package Pile Driver Shirts. Jim Ross, Bobby Heenan, Tony Schiavone, and Paul Heyman.
No surprise there. We've heard all those names before. Who's next, Sarah?
Phil Squared adds votes for Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, Jesse Ventura, and Gorilla Monsoon.
Any surprises here, Brian?
No.
Sarah, why don't you read the next one?
Next up is Pete Bowe, Now You Know, with Jim Ross, Joey Styles, Bobby Heenan, and Vince McMahon.
Any surprises there? Any surprises there, Brian?
I don't see any, man. You've been hearing these names often, very, very often.
It is very, very true. Hey, what do you think about commentators getting involved in storylines?
Like Jim Ross.
Like Jim Ross
Constantly
on
getting
more than one
involved.
occasion. What about when Kane set him on fire?
Yeah, that was cool, though.
That was kind of cool.
I mean, it looked fake as hell.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It was like corny fake, but
Like Jim Cornette?
like no, not corny like that.
Everyone knows it's corny.
God damn. No, like just looked not real.
You're right.
But it was cool.
And how about when Stone Cold beat up Vince? When Stone Cold beat up JR.
Yeah, it was
In
always
Oklahoma?
It was always dual. Yeah, it was either on Jim Ross's birthday in his hometown
Yeah.
when he was getting fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, poor Jim Ross. Poor Jim Ross.
I like the coaching storylines though. The coach was cool.
Coach is like a sleeper favorite of yours, huh?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, he's not even probably on my top 5 or 6, 7, 8. Maybe
Is it like
maybe
the
8.
ESPN connection? Because I know you're a big sports guy.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he was always like the kiss ass commentator.
Yeah.
Like you'd always want to
yeah,
like
he was.
please the boss and
Yes.
kiss the boss's ass. I like this character.
He always reminded me of Carlton from Fresh Prince.
Yeah, I could see that. Like,
Sarah, who do we have next?
Hunter the River Dweller submits Jim Ross, Vince McMahon, Taz, and Jesse Ventura.
Taz and Jesse Ventura, 2 wrestlers that turn their wrestling careers into commentary careers.
imagine Taz and Jesse together in a booth.
I don't know, brother.
Styles would clash.
Where do you get off calling yourself the world's toughest, most suplex machine ever?
Toughest, most suplex machine.
I think the wine's kicking in. Where do you get off, huh? And you're coming to the ring with Kiss.
Are you gonna let me survive today, Taz?
Oh, my fate's in your hands, huh, fella?
Oh man.
Well, this punch in the face is for Terry, Tyrell, and Jane.
Only at WrestleMania.
Only at WrestleMania, yes, of course. What about when Jesse, I believe it was WrestleMania 5, he said, Gorilla, I have a big surprise for you. And it just ends up being him posing. Like, they put the spotlight on him, he takes off his jacket and he just poses. And right after that, they show the trailer for No Holds Barred, and Jesse freaks out because he's like, Hollywood is my thing, Gorilla. Who does Hulk Hogan think he is coming in on my turf?
Could you imagine if it was Jesse Ventura versus Zeus? No holds barred.
Man. Excuse me, Zeus. Who are you looking at, sir?
Oh boy. What do we got?
Sarah, who's next?
Billy the Biker with Gorilla Monsoon, Jim Ross, Vince McMahon, and Tony Schiavone.
It's a respectable list.
It is. It's a very respectable list, and I know we only have one more list left to read, so I'm just going to ask you this question here. What do you think's the greatest commentary call of all time?
It's got to be Jim
That's
Ross.
got to be Kane.
No, McMahon. There's got to be Kane.
That's a pretty iconic one
That's
right there.
gotta be
Or
Kane.
what about the boyhood dream has come true for Shawn Michaels?
But what about? Good God, he's broken in half. He's dead.
I think that's the best one. I think that's or the Gorilla Monsoon, Andre the Giant.
What the
Immovable force meets the
irresistible objects.
Irresistible something meets the immovable something.
Irresistible.
Focus!
Irresistible force.
Focus!
The irresistible force meets the immovable object.
And they play that clip at the beginning of every single WWE broadcast. Every broadcast. One, that proves how iconic it is. Two, how the hell could I forget it?
Well, you can't forget it. You don't forget anything.
I just did.
You don't forget anything wrestling.
Well, I forgot that Bobby Heenan's name was Raymond.
Well, you won't forget it again, though.
No, never again. Never again. That's how you correct your mistakes. Okay, Sarah, we have one more list. Who is it from?
Our last submission comes to us from the innovator of violence, Tommy Dreamer, Gordon Solie, Joey Styles, Jim Ross, and Lance Russell.
So Tommy Dreamer makes his return to Pro Wrestling Rushmore. And he votes for Gordon Solie, Lance Russell, Jim Ross, and no surprise, Joey Styles.
How can Bobby Heenan not be on that list?
Well,
How,
Let's
Tommy?
see.
How?
well, you know he's going to have Joey Styles.
Well, of
Because,
course.
You know,
I have Joey
obvious,
Styles.
Obvious reasons. I'm sure Tommy grew up, watching NWA, but I know for a fact that he also grew up watching old school WWF. So,
Where did Tommy grow up?
Yonkers, New York.
So he's an East Coast guy, Tommy. Jeez.
Northeast.
Northeast.
Northeast guy.
He's got it. No, Bobby's got to be on that list.
But this is Tommy Dreamer's Mount Rushmore commentators right here.
He'll find
Oh,
out.
come on, Tommy.
He'll find out soon enough. He's wrong.
Come on, Tommy. How could you leave Jim Ross off the list, Tommy?
Who is
That was Lance Russell.
Oh. I don't know Lance. I don't know this Lance Russell.
It's all right.
Aside from the empty arena match where Terry Funk got his eyeball stabbed. Maybe
Aye,
that's
aye.
why Tommy
Aye,
loves
aye,
Lance
Lance.
Russell.
Oh, because of
Because Terry Funk. He's a
Could
big
be.
Terry Funk guy. So
Could be.
maybe just watches that Terry Funk versus Jerry Lawler match on loop, and he loves the call by Lance Russell.
It's a great match. I mean, it's a great match.
Alright.
Oh, come on. You guys are going to get hurt here.
As calm as can be.
As calm as can be. And which is also crazy because, there he is standing there in a suit, smoking a cigarette, with supposedly just a camera guy in the building. But then Terry Funk comes in, in full wrestling gear. Jerry Lawler comes in full wrestling gear, carrying a crown. It's like, why'd you guys even bother dressing up? Nobody's here. There's nobody here. It's an empty arena match.
That's how they dress at home. That is their street clothes.
Jerry Lawler walks around his house with that damn one singlet strap, drinking a Coca-Cola from room to room.
Probably. Lance Russell's poking out his cigarette butts on Terry Funk's back.
Lance, I have a lot of respect for you, but I would appreciate if you didn't do that.
Just chain smoking.
I don't like smoking, Lance, but all right.
Oh.
One commentator that didn't get any mention on here was a former AWA and WCW commentator, and that is Lee Marshall. And Lee Marshall, of course, was famous for being the voice of Tony the Tiger.
Was he really?
They're great!
He was. Oh wow.
Yeah. Lee Marshall.
That was a pretty good Lee Marshall. Or Tony the Tiger.
Hello, wrestling fans, WCW fans. This is Tony the Tiger, and this Monday Nitro is great.
We also did. We also didn't mention Eric Bischoff.
We did not mention Mr. Biscoff.
Oh.
We did not. Were there any other commentators that you can think of that maybe should have been up here?
No, not that I can think of right now, off the top of my head. But I don't like being put on the spot.
But
so.
Don Callis. We talked about him.
We
Earl
talked
Cyrus.
very vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be texting you tonight, being like, "Oh, we forgot to mention this idiot." But
Yeah.
that's.
Maybe. And I'm trying to think of maybe Bruno Sammartino was a commentator with Vince
Ooh.
for a while.
Nah, that wasn't good.
Oh, Vince, I like this guy. He's from Pittsburgh.
How much does he weigh?
Oh, he wrestles in the big clubs.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Bruno, yeah.
No.
Superstar Billy Graham, who's a commentator at one
Bleh.
point. Yeah.
No.
How about the great Bob Caudle? The great Bob Caudle, that sounds like
Who
Yogi
loved-
Bear.
Didn't Jim Ross love Bob Caudle?
He
Who
loved Bob Caudle.
He did, right?
Loved him like a brother. Actually, he's still alive.
I don't remember Bob Caudle.
I think he's stealing picnic baskets
That's terrific.
and calling Ric Flair matches.
You're looking at me with his creepy eyes as you're saying it. Like they're wicked wide open. Like staring,
Would you-
piercing through me.
Would you rather me look at you while
What the hell?
What?
Again.
What? You don't want to talk about the commentators with me, Brian.
I can't even look at you.
Why can't you look at me? Brian, you want a peanut?
Peanut. I'll give you a peanut.
You want a steak
I'll
sandwich?
give you a nice soft peanut to go with your nice soft shirt.
Soft shirt with my Aveeno. And of course, you know I use fabric softener.
Oh boy.
So yeah, Lee Marshall, the voice of Tony the Tiger. I just wanted to get a little mention of that there. But yeah, Lee Marshall didn't wind up on anybody's list. Because he's not great. Sarah, could you please read for us the stats?
This episode's Mount Rushmore of commentators is Jim Ross with 23 votes, Bobby Heenan with 16, Gorilla Monsoon with 13, and coming in a tie for the fourth spot with 8 votes each, Joey Styles and Jerry Lawler. Following closely behind with 7 votes each, Tony Schiavone, Jesse Ventura, Vince McMahon. With 4 votes, Gordon Soley. With 3 each, Lance Russell and Taz. And coming in with 2 votes each, Mauro Ranallo and Paul Heyman.
Alright, Brian, so our votes are going to determine who makes it onto the Mount Rushmore. We already have Jim Ross. We have Bobby Heenan. We have Gorilla Monsoon. Now, let's hear what your list is.
My list is Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan, Jim Ross, and so help me God, if you son of a bitch, if you have Jerry Lawler on yours, if this ends up a tie, I'm going to be pissed because I have Joey Styles as my last one. So, Monsoon, Heenan, Ross, and Styles.
Monsoon, Heenan, Ross, and Styles, which is the ultimate Mount Rushmore anyway, because I have the exact same list as you this week. So that means Joey Styles makes it.
Damn right. You
Joey
got it
Styles
right.
is on the Mount Rushmore.
We finally nailed one.
I agree. I think this is like the undisputed list right here. That's
It
how
is,
I
right?
feel, at least.
I think so. I think we got it right this time.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm happy like we actually got it right this time.
Yeah, I know. This
With
is the,
like with everyone else.
yes. So not only did we guess the ultimate Mount Rushmore, but we had the exact same list. So I gotta say that's pretty good. We're on the same wavelength. Maybe we should do a show together or something.
Who, you and I?
Yeah.
Nah, I wouldn't like that.
Nah, probably would never work.
I don't have time.
Nope, not at all. Alright, so speaking of which, the next list coming up. Now, we're going to try something a little different here. We got Halloween coming up. COVID or not, it's still Halloween. Even if you don't go trick-or-treat, you're going to watch some scary movies, alright? Depending on how scary it is, I mean, it could be Hocus Pocus or it could be Friday the 13th. Who cares? But what we want to do for the next 2 weeks, okay? Next week, we're sure. We want to do the Mount Rushmore of masked wrestlers. So who do you think belongs on that Mount Rushmore? Who are the 4 quintessential masked wrestlers? The week after that, we want to gauge some interest because right now, we have an idea for a list. And it's the Mount Rushmore of face-painted wrestlers. Now, when me and Brian first talked about this, it seems kind of obvious who's going to be on that Mount Rushmore. So we're kind of hoping that we get some variety in these lists. So you may or may not hear in 2 weeks that Mount Rushmore of face-painted wrestlers, but we'll give you more information about that next week. But Brian, any final thoughts?
No, I think it was a pretty good show. I got a nice introduction this time around.
You did.
I'm happy about.
That's very good.
I didn't have to go sulking no corners or anything like that.
I know, you
tonight.
walked
I
out
was-
last week. I thought that was it.
I didn't walk out, man. I was sitting on the couch, watching, watching some TV.
Kayfabe, brother.
No kayfabe here. Keep it real. Keep it real. So, but no, you know what? I shouldn't have accepted that introduction. Because, no.
Oh.
Because they should have been, should have gotten that right from the get-go.
You're right.
Like Sarah's lovely and talented.
Well, sorry. What can I tell you?
That's all right.
That's
It's fine.
What it is what it is.
I'm okay with it.
All right. Well, for all of you out there, we want you to go onto Instagram, square.circle.history. Reply to any of the pictures on there. Just choose your 4. Get your name on the show. Get your list on the show. Go onto YouTube. Go onto the Squared Circle History page. Like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification button just so that you know the second that a new video goes up. So for Brian.
Good night, everybody.
And for Sarah.
Till next time.
This is Ian saying good night.